potentially alleviate that high percentage that would assure you're coming back, or how do you look at that?
I'll just, it's hard to have these conversations when I haven't given any thought, don't know any of those numbers, but I know that I want to be a Viking, and so that's kind of the foundation of it all, and from there it's pretty easy to make those conversations happen when you want to be a Minnesota Viking.
I want to tell you guys, I really like the jacket that Kirk Cousins was wearing there. Kind of like a brown sort of bomber jacket. Looked like almost like a World War II era sort of throwback jacket there.
Little Maverick, little Iceman.
Yeah. Don't usually think of Kirk as a fashionista.
You know what? He would have been a perfect QB in the Top Gun times era.
Oh, yeah.
That's what he's doing. It's an ode to the fact that he could have played alongside like Theismann and Kramer and.
Well, I thought you were thinking
Danny
like
White.
I thought you were putting him in the Top Gun movie there, and I'm thinking it might be problematic when they're up in the sky and there's a crisis happening, and he says, "I don't know, I'm waiting for the play call."
Who's the guy that died?
I'm waiting for I don't know. Should we shoot? I don't know. Tell me in my ear.
Who's the guy that died?
Goose.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
One of the most tragic moments in cinematic history. Thank you very much,
Anthony Edwards.
Edwards. God bless him.
Only the second greatest Anthony Edwards of all time.
Yeah,
all right.
true.
Mackey and Judd, daily Minnesota sports, entertainment, therapy, speculation, you name it. And the most passionate Vikings fan we know. He has correctly nailed 3 Vikings draft picks in the last 3 years. His name is Randy in Cottage Grove, Randy Vikes 69 on Twitter. The floor is yours. The Vikings, they fired both Rick Spielman and Mike Zimmer. I feel like you have kind of gone back and forth just a little bit maybe this season, sometimes wanting both those guys fired and then sometimes putting those guys in your stud stable. So how does this land with you today, Randy?
Well, it ebbs and flows, right? When you follow the game, this is the best thing about football. Every game is huge. Every week is a big week. And if Josephs had hit a couple extra field goals, maybe not having this conversation right now, but that's the way that the cookie crumbled, and I'm looking forward. I really am. I'm looking forward, and I the one thing about Rick is there's going to probably be a few less draft picks, so it's going to be harder just from a percentage standpoint for me to nail one. As a mocker, you gotta like Rick because what he likes to do is acquire as they say, capital. Capital.
Yep.
And so that I will miss that. He's a guy who likes the draft. He really does like the draft, and I of course, all of us in the mocking community do as well. We do like the draft.
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about the mocking community here today. Just how difficult this must be for you guys to have to acclimate to some new general managers. It's got to be tough for the mocking community. Well,
I think whatever GM that they want to bring in, of course I'm referring to Ziggy and Mark and the other Wilf, who doesn't matter. I don't remember his name.
It's a Leonard.
Leonard.
Or you're talking about the kid, Jonathan.
Leonard, you just do whatever you do. But I'll say they're going to bring in a guy at the top. But then the real decision is going to be who that guy puts at the head of the ship at the head coach position. And if you guys are I know it's early, but if you guys are interested, I did. There's no sense in a stable for the game yesterday. That game was meaningless. But I did throw together a little just a little early kind of a 1.0 head coach coaching search.
Wow.
So this is okay. So our graphics department, our highly compensated graphics department, had Dud Stable on the screen here, because we kind of thought you were going to go down like the firing Dud Stable. So all right, so we're gonna go Stud Stable here. Randy in Cottage Grove already looking at candidates to fill these leadership roles. So all right, the floor is yours, Randy. Randy, are you there? I think we lose Randy. I think he might have lost connection there. Well, let's see if we can get him back.
I didn't hear him drop off.
That was a hell of a tease.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he lost his notes or something.
Hope he didn't fall off his bar chair,
No, that would be
hit his head.
bad.
That
I mean,
would be
he was
good.
definitely
He's happy.
he was definitely
though.
riding the roller coaster this season. I think there were times where he would have given Mike Zimmer a lifetime contract. I think he fired him about 6 times. To his point about Greg Joseph, though, and we'll try to get him
Joseph's.
back here.
Joseph's.
Joseph's, yeah.
Get it
It is
right.
kind of funny, like, of all the things you look at in a football season, football games, right? If Greg Joseph makes a 37-yard field goal against the Cardinals and the Vikings are 9-8 instead of 8-9, and I'd have to go look and see, like, tiebreaker-wise, would they have been a playoff team? I think 10-7 got you in, right? Not 9-8. What's the Eagles' record? My point
But
is,
they
though,
might have had a
10-7.
little extra juice.
oh, he's back. Okay.
Yeah.
He's back.
Okay.
They might if those games mattered, we might have had a little extra something to play for against the
Yeah.
Rams.
Yeah. All right, you're back here. The floor is yours. Give us the stud stable.
This is a stud stable coaches. Coaches, just kind of as we start this search, I think it's important to put a couple of high quality names in the mix. So Ziggy and Mark, and if you're listening, here's a couple of names to kind of keep on your radar. Put them in the name. Put a little bug in the ear of the new GM. So this is a 2022 Vikings head coach stud stable, early version. Here's a guy. What's that?
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, here's a guy who recently became available, and I'm sort of surprised. Maybe you guys have been talking about this guy as well as an opportunity to really scoop a known commodity who was coaching as recently as this week, and that's Vic Fangio. Vic is a football guy through and through, and he's the kind of guy who can just really come in and instill a tough-nosed attitude. As you saw how that works, it's been working in Detroit. In Detroit, Dan Campbell, who I love, came in and just kind of changed the culture, and it's going to be a process, but he's got it on the right track. And so if we want to really bring in a guy who's kind of a tough love customer, that's Vic Fangio.
So you're just to clarify here, you're talking about Vic Fangio not as a defensive coordinator, but as a head coach.
He's a stud, and he's got a lot of. I mean, he's clearly done it. He's now done it at the highest level, so you don't have to worry about getting used to where the correct meeting rooms are and things like that.
That is
You
confusing
just,
sometimes.
You just come in and
Big building too.
Yeah,
He's
I
turnkey.
hadn't thought about that, but like,
There's all those rooms.
yeah, I mean that's like people rip on Brad Childress, but like it took him 2.5 years to figure out where the meeting rooms were at Winter Park. No,
A lot of people like to talk about whether or not we're going to keep Kirk. I got some opinions on that, but let's say we do. Let's say we decide we're either stuck with him, or we're going to work out a deal, as they say, and keep him here long term. And a lot of people like to think, well, where did he have his perhaps some of his greatest fit from a scheme standpoint, and that's Kyle Shanahan. Well, what better way to bring in some of that magic than the guy who taught Kyle everything he knows, and that's Mike Shanahan. Mike, we would welcome you here. You've
What?
done it.
Randy,
You won a Super.
Mike
you won a Super
Shanahan.
Bowl.
he hasn't
He's
coached
won a
forever.
Super Bowl. Excuse me, Mike. You won a Super Bowl, and you've done it at the highest level.
No.
And we would be honored to give you an interview here, Mike. So Ziggy, if you're listening, please put Mike Shanahan high on the list. He's a stud.
Oh God, dude, he's like 70.
Here's another guy.
When's the last time Mike Shanahan coached? 10
you can
years
do
ago.
your own stable?
Didn't
you
Mike
can do your own
Shanahan? Did Mike Shanahan?
Wait, let's not make him hang up.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Who's
Here's
next on your
another
list?
guy? If you want to talk about known commodities and guys who've done it, and maybe he's a little sick of the bright lights and wants to get back on the sidelines, and that's Jimmy Johnson.
What?
Jimmy?
Oh God.
Jimmy has led. Excuse me, Jimmy has led quality franchises to championships. And I would love to see what he could come in and do with a few modern weapons. So Jimmy, if you give it a thought, don't think twice about this opportunity. There's a lot of weapons, and it's an indoor environment, so you won't be cold. Jimmy Johnson, you're a stud.
Randy, real quick, I just a quick question. Does it worry you at all that Jimmy Johnson is almost 80 years old?
Do you see him on TV? He's jumping all over the place. He's having a blast. He's doing a thing now where he gives away his money. So he's doing it. If he comes back and coaches,
money.
he'd do it for the love of the game.
I thought it was Terry Bradshaw's money they were giving away.
Whoever's money it is,
It's
it doesn't matter. The point is, Jimmy's a quality coach. Do you want the rest of the stable or not? I mean,
I'm sorry.
Who's next? Bill Walsh?
That's,
George Seifert is next, and George Seifert, another guy who knows NFC football, and he knows how to. If we're stuck with a pocket passer, George Seifert's coached some of the best pocket passing we've ever seen. So George, if you want to give it one more go, do another trip around the merry-go-round. This is a good opportunity for you, George and Ziggy. Give him a call. Now here's another guy.
I'm a little worried because George Seifert was born. He was conceived in 1939, actually. So I'm a little worried that he may have lost touch with the current version of the NFL.
Don't do ageism. I'm senior gold, and I have a grooved swing. Don't count us out. Here's another guy.
Why don't you put Bud Grant on your list, Randy?
Excuse me. If we want to emulate the Packers, this is the best coach in Packer, in my opinion, Packer modern era Packer history, and that's
God.
Mike Holmgren.
I knew that was
Mike,
coming.
you've done it again at the highest levels. You really have, and even in Seattle, you weren't able to pay it off there, but the players respected Mike. And
I'm actually with Randy on this one. I'm actually in on the Mike Holmgren idea. Let's do it. Bring Mike
he's
Holmgren to Minnesota.
He's a quality coach,
quarterback.
and Mike, in this stable, you are a super stud. And then one more name that I know is already on the tip of the tongue for the Wilps, and I can't even wait to see if they're willing to give it a go, to see if they can be the one team to get this guy back on the saddle and ride around the horse one more time, because he's done it. He's won a couple of titles, and he's the fountain from where all their advice flows when they're looking for football decisions. So why not, instead of going to the source for a take or a tip, why not bring the source in-house and let him run it however he wants. Bring in some assistants, but let him be up in the booth. Give him a lazy boy if he wants. But you just want his brain in charge of the whole thing. And that's the big tuna, Bill Parcells. Bill, you can do this. You can do it one more time, and we're ready to welcome you, give you a whole fleet of toys to play with, and see if you can do this thing one more time, Bill. So, Bill, in this particular power stable, you are the super duper dud.
Football.
I think he's gone. He's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Here's
The big tuna.
Here's the scary thing. If Bill Parcells called the Wilfs today and said, "Guys, I'm in," they'd hire him.
Guys, I feel energized.
I'm revitalized.
I know I'm 80.
The heart problems have cleared up.
I think, what did he
working.
give us, like 6 names there? Half of them were 80.
I thought George Seifert was dead. He's not.
Bill Walsh passed away, right?
Bill Walsh
Yeah.
is dead, yes.
Is he? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Bill Walsh is dead. George Seifert, I thought, was dead, but he's 81 years young.
Dude. I think he's onto something with Mike Shanahan. You know, people give Mike Shanahan a lot of flack, but that guy won a couple Super Bowls there in the late '90s. So maybe you make that phone
Who
call.
was his
And he
first
did
candidate?
teach Kyle everything he knows.
Who was his first candidate before Mike Shanahan? Who did Randy have first?
It was someone who just recently got fired.
Vic Fangio.
Vic Fangio.
Yeah, because I didn't love that one, but I thought, he's going to have a pretty good list here.
I thought he was going Brian Flores at first, right? Guy that recently got fired. Brian Flores.
But
Vic Fangio.
instead he's Mike Shanahan. And then Mike would want to keep Kirk too.
Do you guys remember? So Bill Cowher retired from Pittsburgh in 2006 or whatever it was, because then Mike Tomlin took over.
6, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, you're right.
And he got into TV pretty quickly. And for the first few years, everybody thought Bill Cowher, it's just a matter of time, right? I think he flirted with the Panthers at one point.
He had his place there. Yeah, he definitely did.
That it's just a matter of time. First of all, I thought Bill Cowher by the end of that list was going to be on it. I'm a little disappointed that Randy didn't put Bill Cowher on that list, but
that's a really good point.
why was the TV money that night? He's working once a week. I wonder why Bill Cowher never got back into coaching.
Probably didn't want the stress. I got to think that some guys are like, I don't need it anymore. I mean, not a lot of them, but because most of them do get back into it. But I remember that was like a 5-year run, right? Like, oh, Bill Cowher's come back this year.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's going to be next year now.
No, it's not the right situation yet. And then when the Vikings fired Childress, I think Cowher's name was like, among fans and stuff. All right, it's been 5 years, but you could bring Bill Cowher in here to
the chin,
everything.
The chin was going to come back.
The jaw, the iron jaw.
Dude, I watched when I was watching Madden stuff last week, just going through YouTube, and so I found a game. It was week 1 of 1994, and it might have been the first. Was 94 the first year of Fox NFL?
Yes.
I think it was the first Pat Summerall, John Madden Fox game between the Cowboys and the Steelers in Pittsburgh, early September.
Yeah.
And that's early Bill Cowher, like year 3 of Bill Cowher. And he's got the mustache, and then the chin was just so legendary.
He exudes football. Like if I were to draw a head that looks like a football, that's Bill Cowher.
Bill Cowher.
His chin looks like a sideways football.
Let's
do some bonus Viking statements here. It's Statements Monday on Mackey and Judd. Judd, you go first. Give us a bonus
sure.
Viking statement.
I'm going to actually go to a game last night that was an exciting, dramatic game between the Raiders and Chargers, and I'm going to draw a parallel here to part of the problem with the Vikings. And my statement is this. Example 1 of the disconnect. And by that, I mean, we all saw, if you watched that game last night, Daniel Carlson had another marvelous evening. Marvelous night.
So I'm so glad you're bringing this up.
He's turned himself into one of the best, if not the best, but one of, actually he's behind Tucker of Baltimore. So he's the best. He's a top 5 kicker, though. But he's a fantastic kicker. He's great. Yeah. And he, of course, was drafted in the 5th round by the Vikings, I believe, in 2018. And he struggled in the preseason, and Zim got surly. And then he was awful. And I think he missed 3 field goals, including 2 potential game-winning kicks in what turned into a tie in Kirk Cousins' second regular season game with the Vikings, which was in Green Bay. And then he was summarily cut. And now I said from the moment that draft pick was made, Rick, what are you doing? Like, Mike can't handle a kid. He just can't. He doesn't have the patience. He doesn't have the ability to go through the struggles. And so Carlson was a terrible draft pick to give Mike. He was a great draft pick as far as his leg goes and his potential. But that's just another great example of the disconnect of a GM identifying a player who could be pretty damn good and has turned into a really good player.
Rick was right. He was right.
Rick was right, but he went shopping for a cook who couldn't cook the ingredients. And so Rick was right in the kid's talent, but he was wrong in drafting a kicker for Zimmer when you should have given him veteran kickers. And I think that's a really good example where there's culpability both ways, but it's a great example of how the disconnect just began to really spiral and became like a snowball of Rick Spielman is doing what he thinks is right. And for him, it is right. But for this coach, it's not.
Do you think those guys were brought in at the same time this morning? Like, were they sitting in the same room, like a big conference room?
Sure seemed like it, didn't it?
Together and told together?
I heard they met at 8, and it all came out by like 8:15, right?
Yeah, and Pelissero had the back-to-back tweets within.
I mean, I don't know for a fact, but it sure looked like they were both told fairly quickly, you're gone.
Do you think Zimmer and Spielman are going to get a beer or a glass of wine together at some point in the next week and reminisce about the last 8 years, or do you think they're more likely to never talk to each other again?
I'd go with B. Like if you're asking me my opinion, like game show, I'd go with option B. I think that they are. I'm guessing that they've spent the last year trying to save their own hides. Both didn't, and I don't think that's going to create a lot of goodwill between those two men. Yeah. For now, at least.
No. All right, my next statement here. Kirk Cousins showed us again why he is I just work here guy. So yesterday,
I think I know where you're going.
After he missed Justin Jefferson wide open for a touchdown that would have helped Justin Jefferson set the all-time Vikings receiving yards record in a season. Now, I get it. Like, there's an extra game. Randy Moss did it in 16 games.
It was important
to the kid, though. It was important to Justin Jefferson.
I agree.
It's important to the team. And Kirk Kirk recognized the importance of it. He apologized basically after the game and said, if I could do it over again, I would have thrown the ball to Jefferson. And, of course, I hear the people, it was a touchdown. You're complaining about a touchdown. The game didn't matter. The touchdown to KJ didn't matter. All right? Bonuses matter, and playing young players matters. And if you can cash in on a record that's been largely built 95% through the season, you should look to do that, right? That's what happens in week 17, week 18. So they also had 2 more drives after that offensively to get 17 more yards for Justin Jefferson. And there was a 2nd down and 8 or something, or a 2nd down and 10. They run the ball, get stuffed for a loss. And then on 3rd down and 14, another run play to Kene Nwangwu, and they go back to the sidelines and they punt the ball. And then they get the ball back with a minute left, and again, it's run plays, etc. So, Kirk gets the play call in his helmet and runs the play as called because he is an I just work here good soldier, right? He just, maybe next year we can get that record. I don't know, I just run the plays that are called. I just do what I'm told and clench my teeth on the sidelines with my helmet on, right? Meanwhile, in the Tampa game, there's video of Tom Brady screaming at assistants. He's demanding that he does not come out of the game until Gronk gets one more reception for a $500,000 bonus, right? Mm-hmm. It's all meaningless, right? Oh, who cares? It's bonuses and records. Who cares? The players care. And Tom Brady knows as a great leader that the players care. Yeah. And by the way, I would say Bruce Arians, too, as a coach, is just more in tune with some of this stuff. He's pretty grizzled himself, too. But Tom Brady said, I'm not coming out of the game until I get Gronk the bonus that matters to him. And you could insert record if you wanted to there, too. Yep. And Kirk's just yeah, whatever. Just guys don't hate Kirk, but he's just he just works here. He's a beta who just works here. I guess we'll maybe try next year. Sorry.
Well, and then I thought that you were going to his post-game comment when Chris Thomason of the Pioneer Press asked Kirk about coming back and about his cap. And Thomason flat out pointed everything about you're due this. It's X amount of the cap. I think 21+% of the cap. So if they ask you to take a pay cut, and Kirk sort of laughed uncomfortably. It's you've done your research here, which one, it's on overthecap.com, Kirk, and you know that. 2, he very easily could have said, we'll look at that. And you know what? If that's in the best interest of the Vikings, I will certainly examine it. Something along the lines of, I'm about the team. Because
he lies and says, I don't know the numbers.
Yeah, which is crap. But he also says, I want to be a Viking. Which, if you want to be a Viking, then you say, even if that's a lie, you say, I will look at whatever needs to be done to help this team. Now, you might ultimately say no, but instead, you're right, Phil. He lies. He flat out lies and says, I don't know. It's hard to say right now, which is code for I ain't going to make any sacrifices unless they help Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
So you're right. You're
again,
right.
Is it that big of a deal in the grand scheme? No, but these little things like this do add up, and they matter, and it's all part of the equation.
And get Justin Jefferson the damn record. And I go back to the first half, 2 catches for 32 yards.
Dude, he had 7 targets. It was the 3rd fewest targets of the season for him.
There should have been a week-long, part of practice should have been, we're going to get you this.
If you're going to play these guys, at least
correct.
Have some fun, try to get a record, try to get some bonuses, etc.
And if you're not going to play him, if you tell him, Justin, we don't think it's worth it, that's a totally different discussion.
Yeah. Anyways, maybe a mountain out of a molehill here. But
that's
what we do. All right, Dex.
So I'll say this. My statement is stay far away from Lane Kiffin. PFF Brad put out a little reckless speculation here.
I love that.
This morning, in the middle of recording this program. I've heard one very outside-the-box candidate for Vikings head coach last week. I'm not attempting to break any news, but there have been consistent chatter from many corners of football circles about Ole Miss head coach Lane Kiffin.
Dude, I love Lane Kiffin as a college coach. I don't know, man.
My statement is very simple and to the point. Stay far away from Lane Kiffin.
Dude, if
that
PJ
would be
Fleck ever left,
disastrous.
give me Lane Kiffin as a college coach all day long.
Sure.
I don't know, NFL.
But as a professional NFL head coach, that is the last thing this franchise needs is Lane Kiffin coming in here from Ole Miss. He was at Florida Atlantic, I think, before Ole Miss. because he was obviously with USC, I know, about 10 years ago, but
And with Bama, OC. Yes.
Stay far away from Lane Kiffin. I'm not taking chances on college football head coaches right now. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it.
I agree with you completely. The name that I've heard loosely tied to the Vikings from the college ranks is Matt Campbell of Iowa State. I think but I don't think it's going to be. I think Declan's 1,000% right. Don't do it. Yeah. Don't do it. Don't do college coaches.
No, there's so many qualified NFL guys. Exactly. Yeah, there's a great pool of candidates on paper this year. That
amen. Yeah,
by the way,
do a college coach.
More breaking news coming in here. So the Giants GM Dave Gettleman has informed people in the building he's retiring.
Good.
And Joe Judge is set to address the team shortly with an eye toward the future. So it sounds like Joe Judge might not be getting fired here.
No, they've said that they're going to keep him. My question is, are they now going to give him more power? Because that's the only
give
Joe
way Judge all the power.
That's the only way to assure. Because if you're going to bring in a GM, I don't think he's going to want to keep Joe Judge. Players really don't like him that much.
That's hilarious.
Joe Judge. Call me coach. I don't call you by your name. I call you Mr. Quarterback.
Quick shout out to Federated real quick. My next statement will come after this in a second here, but Federated's been around for over 100 years. They've been helping businesses make statements with risk management tools and resources. They've got all kinds of great people and tools on federatedinsurance.com that can help you maximize the success of your business and minimize risk. It's like having an offensive line that knows what it's doing while you, the quarterback, the business owner, operates in the pocket. Federatedinsurance.com, and remember, at Federated, it's our business to protect yours. I just want to throw a shout out here via statement to my childhood TV dad.
I was going to ask you about this.
I'm going to miss Bob Saget.
I was going to ask you about this.
Bob Saget died last night. Not even that old. He's in his 60s?
65.
65.
Found in an Orlando, Florida hotel room dead, and I saw that they did not suspect foul play or drugs, which is great.
He was about to start a tour. Literally, I think night one of his first comedy tour was supposed to be like tonight in Florida.
Yeah, he just tweeted something. Yeah, it's really sad.
If you were born, and like this younger generations probably saw Full House just via rerun all throughout the 2000s, but man, like I was born in 1985, and so that TGIF ABC lineup, there was a few shows that kind of rotated, but the staples were Family Matters and Full House for like 8 years. And so my TV dads as a kid were Bob Saget, so Danny Tanner, Carl Winslow on Family Matters.
Carl Winslow, man, loved him.
And you always got, Bob Saget, who was wildly different outside of that show as a comedian. He was raunchy and quirky, but on that show, he was America's TV dad. He would always give the big speech at the end of each episode to one of his daughters about like the life lesson that was learned.
Howie Cunningham,
music playing
of your generation.
Yep. So I don't know. When people from your childhood die like that, whether it's athletes or whether it's TV movie stars, it always kind of hits. So that hit me last night a little bit. Bob Saget, rest in peace, man. Did you guys ever get into Full House?
I watched like reruns of it.
I was too old.
I even watched it almost out of comedy because it's just like it was so cheesy by the time I was watching it in like the mid 2000s. I didn't appreciate it, so I thought it was so bad it was good. It was always the show that if you were home sick from school for the day that was rerunning on ABC Family that you would turn on because you're a 12-year-old and nothing's on daytime TV obviously. So you would turn on ABC Family, and I swear to God, that'd be playing all the time during the noon block and the morning block of television.
Yep. He was his character on that show was he was San Francisco local TV morning show host guy too.
He took part in the reboot, right?
Yeah, he was kind of a peripheral character
in the reboot.
So they brought a couple of the main characters back. So DJ, Candace Cameron, and
Bure. Married to Valerie Bure.
Pavel or Valerie Bure?
Valerie.
And then what's her name? Stephanie came back as a full-time character. And then they would sprinkle in like John Stamos and Dave Coulier and Bob Saget too. But,
Dave Coulier.
Bob Saget, man. Too bad. All right. Any final statements from you guys?
Yeah, I'm excited. Today starts an exciting for us on our shows. As a Vikings fan, as a follower, I'm excited. I mean, this is going to be. It's been a long time since what is, I think, easily considered the most important professional sports team in this town has had a shakeup. Mike for a long time did a good job. I think that waned, but Mike did a good job. You know what? Rick did a solid job. But I'm excited to see where this goes, and I think the timing of this change is just perfection.
Yep.
It felt stale. I don't think that the coaching was good. I really think the last 2 years, and this year in particular, the head coach was bad. Like he lost his fastball. And so I think it's super exciting now to see a franchise that's been, damn solid, head in a direction that hopefully will be more successful and provide a lot of fodder that we currently didn't have. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Dex, any final statements from you?
Yeah, I'm excited too. And this is now, we're entering, even though the Vikings are out of the regular season, we got playoff football coming up. I love me some playoff football. Yeah. 3 days of super wild card weekend. Saturday,
Genius
Sunday, Monday. Inject all the football into my bleeping veins, dude. I'm ready to go. So yes, I'm excited what the Vikings do. I mean, this is going to be legitimately, the offseason going into getting Kirk, so after the Minneapolis Miracle and signing Kirk in 2018, that was fun. But this, there's so much volatility here.
Dude.
Well, who are they going to hire as coach? GM, what's the future hold for Kirk? Are they going to move up in the draft? They have draft picks now. They're 12th. The speculation has started, and I can't wait. So inject it all. Inject it all.
Football! Are we going to have to pour one out for the Rick Spielman cackle sounder?
I think it survives for a while.
Yeah.
I think it survives for a while. But we have to find a replacement.
Yeah.
So can we get the new GM to cackle?
We'll have to have a hyper focus at the GM's first press conference for whatever goofy thing he says or some sound. We'll have to be hyper focused on that.
But don't lose that because the cackle's really good. So I think we got to be careful here because that's a really good transitional cackle.
And then there's this one too. We're gonna have to. We can keep this one, but probably not gonna be playing it much anymore.
So I heard it all week long, right? 0-9 on Monday night. Yeah. You like how this tastes?
Yeah.
You like that?
I can't. No, you can't lose that. I love that. I love the play. The player makes it creepier.
Chance at the end, but I got 3 words for you. You like that?
Honestly, that was the peak.
Yep.
Of the Kirk Cousins era, right? That was the roller coaster was at the top of the hill, and then they got smoked by the Niners, and they have not been above 500 since that game.
And don't forget, things come in threes. Rick is gone, Mike is gone,
Kirk will be gone too. Usually, it's people die in threes.
Yeah, no.
Well, we got 2.
That's what I'm saying. It's football death. Let's not kid ourselves. It's
Betty White. Betty White died.
Bob Saget.
Lost Bob Saget. Oh, yeah. I don't know who's third. It's only January 10th, so
65 is young to be dying.
Jaleel White, Steve Urkel, stay home. Don't go anywhere.
Bubble wrap them.
Be safe.
Bubble wrap them all.
Be safe.
Oh no, that's right. Melissa Joan Hart.
Just
be
don't
careful,
go anywhere.
Sabrina.
Don't go anywhere.
Clarissa, be careful.
Clarissa explains it all. Oh man! All right, we're back at it tomorrow on Mackey and Judd. We might even have the Wilfs. At least Mark Wilf is going to speak later today here on this Monday, so we may have another episode of Purple Daily at some point. But just trust us, we got you covered here. Looking ahead to this magnificently fun Vikings new era, hopefully in the next few months, that's going to be built. That's a wrap on Mackey and Judd today. See you guys.